Today I want to tell you a bit about my class. My class was very fun. Always. I love classes. So today this week we are focusing specifically in terms of the curriculum on flow. And I've been hammering on flow in terms of the crew for a while, but I really only shifted about a month or so ago to like full on, listen guys, we need flow, because all that we did as the crew was challenges, and that's not really parkour. Parkour is flow. So we've been focusing on flow this while at the academy now, or in the crew, and now this week we're doing it as in classes, that's the word. And I've got 4 kids in my class, ranging from age 12, 13, all the way down to age 8. Okay, so quite a big gap if you know kids. Age 8 is like very small, and age 13 is okay, you're getting there, you're getting some size, just actually growing tall and things like that. So those were my age groups, and they actually surprised me with how fast they can still move through something. My 8-year-olds just went for it, and they went straight through like everything, and it was fast. I was like really impressed with how they did it. Now, obviously you've got technique and everything that goes along with that, but they were actually going through the motions and doing it quickly, and I was impressed by that, because I didn't expect one of my 8-year-olds to actually be that quick. Like I know when everybody starts, they think parkour is like quick. Or let me say it like this. You've got 2 different types of people when you start with parkour. You've got your go for it and like full speed people. And then you've got your slower, okay, maybe I should take my time with this. Maybe I should be like easier with this. Take it easy, just see where it goes, and then like get comfortable with it. So essentially myself and Bernard. So if you want to know more about that, go watch podcast. I believe we talked about that in the first episode. If I remember correctly, I'm hoping I'm remembering correctly. So you've got those 2 types of people. I mean, Bernard's doing what I've done in 6 years. He's doing it in 2. So it's actually really impressive. But the point is that my small kids actually went through this with a whole bunch of speed, which I was not expecting. And then obviously you get that the technique isn't really there yet. They're just kind of falling through everything. But that's ultimately why they're here, is to learn how to have good technique in parkour. And we started off the class with, so let me give you some backstory. The 13-year-old has been here since, she's been here for like 2 years or so. So she's been going for quite a while. And it's actually quite impressive to see her move, because her moves are starting to get flowy, they're starting to pick up some technique, they're good, and she's actually got a whole bunch of control. So I'm really impressed with her movements. Every time I see it, every time I see her movements, it's always like, well done. I can see you've put in the effort, I can see you've made them neat, and you've really put in effort to get this down. And then one of the 2 8-year-olds joined last month, and he's one of those like typical get through it guys. So he's one of those that really, okay, here's the obstacle, I must get through it. That's my job. I must go from here to there, and I must just get there. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter what speed, doesn't matter. He's one of the faster types, so he likes just going for it. So those we found normally take longer to learn technique, because they're so focused on just going through than what it takes to actually get them to have control. Or, well, no, I just messed it up. It takes them longer to learn their technique than other people who have the, okay, let me take it slowly, let me see what this is about, make sure my approach into this thing is correct, and everything like that. So typically that is where the difference comes in. And this guy, he just goes for it. He just goes through everything, which is quite cool, because that in itself has a lot of flow. Because that means that he actually has the natural ability to move through an area with flow if he's confident in going with speed from the get-go. So that was then one, and then we've got a 11-year-old, 10-year-old, one of those two, and he's been working at his moves for quite a while now as well. He's been here for a year or so, and you can see that he really puts in the effort to get the stuff going and to get the movements right. But it takes time. It's the same as with where I was. You take the time, you sit him down, you go, okay, this is it, this. So he's always the slower, not like slower one. He's the one who takes everything slower. He takes the obstacle in front of him. He doesn't just tackle through everything. So, well, there's a fun little class happening right next to me. I'm going to have that in my background, so check. So, that was one section of my class, was just actually identifying the different types of students that I had in my class, which was actually quite cool to see the fact that there were like all four of them, even though their age gaps were not that big, they actually all moved differently. And every single time I see that, I love it. That's why I carry on coaching, is because every single time a new student walks into the gym, you've got your set categories that they fall into, but everyone has their own like unique, I want to say, flavor to their movements. And that's really, it's a joy to see. I really love seeing that. And this class that I had then, it moved into starting to actually go into flow, and my kids actually started getting flow. So it takes a while. Obviously, everything you do, whether you train ballet, parkour, racing, whatever you may do, it always takes time. Okay, so flow is not something you learn in one class, trust me. It takes time. But in this class, my students just almost snapped it. So we only started with a smaller version of the bigger route. But even in the smaller route, they managed to really hone in their movements from like falling all over the place, to hone it in to actually be neat and controlled and have flow. It was really impressive to see. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy that every single time of class. And that's one of our benefits that we have, is it teaches you general control of your body. Almost any sport has that, but it's also very different for each sport. So rugby, I like using it as an example, but I'm not slating it at all. I'm not, where's my camera going? I'm not going against rugby or anything like that, but if I have to use rugby as an example, they have their bodies and they control it they have control over their bodies in terms of where they can distribute their weight. So when you watch rugby, you'll see that they all have this good, impressive control of forcing their entire body weight into a tackle. And it's a good skill to have. Like, for instance, if you break into a rugby player's house, they're going to know how to counter you. Whereas me, on the other hand, I don't have experience with fighting, with tackling anyone, so I probably won't even be able to get the guy down. I'll be able to run away from him. That's a different story. But each sport has its own set of benefits and control that comes with their body. And with parkour, because you've got so many different variations of moves, so many different movements, and so many different types of obstacles, like bars right here. To work on these oaks is a lot different to work on like a box there in my background. Okay? So just because you can move on a box doesn't mean you can move on a bar. You understand what I mean? So where was I? I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the class. Okay, the point is, in parkour, you learn control over more than just like general obstacles. You learn parkour over specific obstacles and in general. So for instance, this table right here in front of me, it is different to move over this than it is to move over that and to move over the tires. So let me quickly give you guys a demonstration. Obviously I have to climb over to get there now, but I'm quickly going to set up my camera over here and then I'm going to show you. So let's see, let me quickly set it up for you guys. There we go. Okay. So actually, let me do this. Let's focus on the small box and the high high table for now. Okay, so I don't know where what is because I can't see. But over there is your box, and over here is your table. Okay, higher, lower, wider, also wide but not as wide. You get the point. Okay, so it's different to move over each and every single one of them. That's one of the movements that I find the safest over this. It's the safety. Simple as that. But when I get to this one, it's not as easy to safety because one, I'm coming in at an angle. So I always have to then like almost throw out, which is a lot more difficult. So when it comes to lower boxes, I like what you call a Kong. Wait, let me show you. If you've watched people like Star or Europeans, they normally call it cat pass. So let me quickly show you. We call it a Kong. So a Kong is plain and simple, running from the other side and over. So that's one of my favorite moves to do over a low obstacle because it's easy to do, especially this is low risk. Okay. One of my safest moves that I like doing over here is called the safety. It's very self-explanatory, but it's up and over, which is nice and easy because it's safe. I'm sure where I'm placing my hand and my foot. I know where I'm going to come out of it and everything like that. But one of my fun moves to do over this, right? So that's also my kind of like lazy move. One of my fun moves is either it's a combo between like a lazy, a rocket and a dash, or just straight up a dash. But I like doing a sideways. So it's very much it's a dive lazy, if we can call it like that. Okay, so watch. It's coming in and it's going over, twisting my legs, and then landing and coming back. So as you can see in that little demonstration there, you get different types of, oh, my camera's first. No, down here. Thank you. So as you can see, just in that little thing, or in those two different things, which are quite similar actually, you get a whole bunch of different skill sets by moving over them and control by moving over them. Whereas if you would take something like this log vault right in front of me, a lot more different to move over a log like this than it is to move over a tire or the table over there. So you teach skills. And let me quickly go show you guys the routes that we did in class because I feel that will give you a lot more of an idea of where and how we moved. So, flip the screen, thank you. So we started over here and then I wanted them to come in, and because they're smaller, this barrel is quite big. It doesn't look big, but if I go here, you can see it's quite big. So it meets me above my hip, almost by my ribs. So it's quite sizable, okay? Why is my camera not flipping? There we go. So they started there and they ran in, and I wanted them, because they were smaller than what I am, to put their foot on there, climb up, and then climb over. Then from there, split step out, through, lazy, into those tires. Now, because of the different types of obstacles that they had there, it was challenging for them, even as small kids. Okay, so because of those different types, the barrel is very much a big up and over. It's almost a daunting obstacle. So it's very, very daunting in terms of the size, because I mean that barrel is literally bigger than some of my students. So the barrel is a big it's a big obstacle, and then when you get to your tire meets me below my hips, like halfway between my hips and my knees. So it's a lot easier for a small kid to move over that. And so you go from this big one that you have to put a lot of effort into, put in a lot of power just to get over or on and then over, to where you need to dial it completely down to the smallest movement that you've ever done. So it's very control based. And when it comes to flow, control is everything. If you don't have control, you don't have flow. It's as simple as that. You can make no control look like you have flow, but you can't make, which way's around? You can make no control look like you have flow, because then you just fall through everything, but you can't make flow. I don't know which way around it is. I'm confusing myself. But the point is, you can't make, if you want proper flow, you can't do it without control. There's no way you're doing that without control. So The point is that it goes from big to small, and for small kids that's difficult. So for small kids the obstacle is like medium sized, and for the bigger kids in the class, so two of the kids like struggled with the big obstacle because it's literally bigger than what they are, and then the two others didn't struggle as much with the big obstacle because like it's like the obstacle for me, it's just okay, we can move over it, it's a bit uncomfortable but we can move over it. And then the smaller obstacle was really a challenge for them because it was down low. It's like, it's by your knees. It's very awkward to send your hands down to your knees, trust me. So just that teaches you how to control your body in terms of up and down. And that's a very valuable thing to have. But what surprised me was that that these small kids they clicked it. They just clicked this up and down thing. There was no like, they all moved through the route on their first try and actually moved through it. Yes, after that, when we started perfecting our stuff, they started struggling with the strides. But I mean, everybody does struggle with strides when you start nitpicking. But when it was just the plain up and down first try motions, they actually did it, and that was really impressive to see that the students actually have the ability to go for this intense and difficult thing that even the D group struggled with on Monday, and where these four just like breeze through it. And it's because they've been coming consistently to parkour. So during one of our favorite games which we play, which is Zombie, there's a lot of in and out between the obstacles. So it's like World Chase Tag, it's going in and out. But as you see with World Chase Tag as well, there's a lot of up and down. Now with Zombie, where the up and down comes in is on the bars. Because let's quickly see, can I see any bars? Here I can see some bars. Obviously, oh, sheesh, this is going to be difficult. Obviously, so if you're playing normal Zombie, you would zigzag. Oh, I can't control my hand like this. You would zigzag in here and then out behind here and then around the barrel, and then you'd probably come around and then up and then here and then through. Something of the sort, okay? But the moment we start adding bar rules, which is quite complicated, I'm not even going to explain it now. Essentially, same height, same side, same bar to be able to touch someone and then they're on. When it comes to those bars like this, there's a lot more up and down. And then with these bars specifically, because they've got all of these obstacles in the middle and this tire, and then you'll see there is another tire, and then, oh my goodness, and then there's a barrel, there's another tire, here's a barrel, that tire is accessible from there, and then if you're really nice and big, you've got this tire. So the point is, because of all the Zombie that we've been playing with all this up and down, especially with the new bar rule system that we got after lockdown, they've learned how to control their up and down so well that it isn't this struggle anymore. It used to be a big struggle to get the up and down motions right. And recently it seems like it's not anymore. And yes, like I've said, the technique isn't perfect. But the point is they can still do the up and down. And that is what was really impressive about my class for me. I really enjoyed the fact that you get your students and they're just able to do something. And then from there you can actually just go and refine stuff. So next class, I'm going to be showing them the further route of our flow route, which starts getting more difficult because now instead of just small and big obstacles, we start having steps in the middle and obstructions to your strides, and that starts becoming difficult because even the D group struggled there. By the way, if you don't have context, the D group is it's my class, so it's the class that I train alongside. So I don't coach them, I train alongside them. So it's generally the D group is generally the people who go out and crew with us. But the crew and the D group is split, but also not at the same time. Anyway, point is, D group is, let's call them our elite. It's our elite group, and they struggle with the obstructions and the strides. I think no one got it right on Monday to actually get the entire route done. Like even after 50 minutes of training, we trained for long on flow, which was quite impressive to see that my kids got this first little route down in like 20 minutes. So I'm proud of them. That's what I want to say. So that was it for this live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be going live. I'm trying to go live every week, at least once. If there's more, that's a bonus. What am I trying to say? We're trying to get like live streams to be like mini podcasts. So we want like mini teachings in this. So this one was about control and flow, and how impressed I was about about my students that were able to do this up and down from the get-go. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that. That was it for today. We're going to be live streaming only next week again. So if you enjoyed this, tune in next week again. We normally live stream on Mondays. I'm going to try and give you guys a sneak peek into our crew filming location next Monday. But we're going to have to see when we cross. We're going to have to cross that bridge when we get there. But anyway, that was it for now. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.